Yeah, it's pretty unambiguously linked to the Trump administration, right? Elon Musk famously at the beginning of the pandemic tweeted about Dogecoin, and it rose 40% on a single tweet from Elon Musk. So he's been championing that for quite some time. And Bitcoin unambiguously supported by the Republicans in this cycle, which is too bad because it was really an unforced error by the Democrats to alienate cryptocurrencies, which are technically neutral, right? But quickly became politicized during the election.
Last time we caught up, I believe we were talking about a crypto winter. It feels like that has well and truly thawed. What do you think people are buying into? Is it some sort of hype cycle, or do you think there are actually genuine positives coming for crypto?
So it's funny, the last time we spoke, it was exactly 2 years ago at Web Summit, and it was weeks before Sam Bankman-Fried's fraud at FTX was uncovered. So that cast a massive pall on the industry, not just because FTX was a massive exchange, but also because a lot of people saw this as a massive condemnation of there could be no true good cryptocurrency. I suppose, like in the interim time, there's been a number of different changes in the space, but what I think most of the enthusiasm off of the Trump election is showing is mostly that unambiguously there is going to be a pro-crypto government in place in the US, which is the largest capital market. And so it just seems to follow.
But Kathleen, what does that actually look like, right? Over the past few years, speaking to people in blockchain and crypto, two big issues or complaints they have. One was with the SEC, and in particular with the chair, Gary Gensler, and what the industry saw as sometimes unfair treatment or trying to unfairly punish certain companies in the space. The second was the lack of clear rules of the road when it came to the crypto industry. Now, what do you think happens under the Trump administration? It's all well and good being pro-crypto, but does that actually translate into meaningful regulation for a sector and clarity for the sector?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing in light of Trump being elected is just basically unfettered enthusiasm. Obviously, no policy proposals have happened. You've got like the midnight phase where, an outgoing administration might influence policy as it's going out the door. And so that could, obviously torpedo some efforts by the Trump administration. But I think, what people have been asking for, and true credit to Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, because he's really been taking it on the chin for the last few years for the industry. And he's really the person who Coinbase really stewarded this Stand With Crypto initiative that was a great nonprofit effort to basically educate voters, mobilize them if they were interested in cryptocurrencies and promoting those, promoting the needs of the industry. That you could look online and just see who is pro, who is anti, and they were great and everything like that. And of course, the Fair Shake PAC obviously mobilized hundreds of millions of dollars in favor of pro-crypto candidates. So I suppose what we'd like to see as an industry is Brian has been beating on the drum of any sort of regulatory clarity. What he's accused Chairman Gensler of is regulation by enforcement, of course, which makes it seem more capricious to work in the space. So clear-cut rules, I think, are the first and foremost, of any sort, or more or less what everyone's been asking for the last few years. I think more importantly, most cryptocurrency companies or things that touch cryptocurrencies tend to have struggles with banking relationships. So that would be another thing, make it unambiguous that you won't be punished for banking a cryptocurrency company or something that touches cryptocurrencies. That would be one clear policy measure. Donald Trump on the campaign trail promised to amend the sentence of Ross Ulbricht, who's become a bit of a martyr in the cryptocurrency space for his early involvement with the Silk Road. That would obviously be a very low-hanging fruit for an incoming government to do, or an outgoing government for that matter. The Harris campaign sort of made a late series bid to sort of say that they were pro-crypto too, and obviously truncating Ross's sentence would be a clear way to do that. So yeah, lots of low-hanging fruit, some more ambiguous, some more unambiguous, but I think what's been very clear for the last better part of the decade is that this sort of specious claim that, we need regulation is coming, hasn't really worked out. It's been a holding pattern.
Can I ask you if there is some sort of success here in creating the largest crypto capital on the planet, which is what the US is now talking about? What does that mean in terms of how money pivots, how crypto pivots towards the US?
Yeah, I think people have been afraid to operate in the US, mostly because the SEC has launched a number of different lawsuits against big actors, small actors, good faith actors, and it's been very difficult to reason about going whole hog and setting up operations there. And I think maybe this changes in a Trump administration.
And at the SEC in particular, do you think there's going to be a change there for the head of the SEC?
It's hard to say, right? But certainly that's what Trump promised on the campaign trail, right? So obviously, every time a politician promises something, you have to take it with a grain of salt. But certainly, the homage that he's paid has been unambiguous, whereas the Harris campaign did a far poorer job of clearly stating what it would do.
So Kathleen, looking into 2025, if there is a bit more enthusiasm around investment in crypto, what does that mean for perhaps some of the developments in terms of the technology in the space? What do we think we're going to see? Because again, some of the conversations I had were like, well, the prices are sort of depressed, investment's not coming, there's still a bit of caution because of the stance from, or the perceived stance from the SEC being anti-crypto, but does this unlock new developments in terms of tech next year for blockchain?
Well, it'd be nice to see there are some elements of like cryptocurrencies or blockchain technology that would uniquely facilitate like new business models. And I think because there hasn't been very clear guidance on existing business models, it's sort of stymied that exploration of new things. I'm thinking more along the lines of capital formation, actually issuing registered securities but putting them on a blockchain, and having something that's like a bit more unambiguous. It would be nice to see that basically if an instrument isn't the liability of an issuer, that it cannot be a security. Like that would be a very clear-cut policy that would erase a lot of ambiguity that is the industry has been operating under for the last 10 years.
A big broad question. AI is the huge theme here. How does this interact with crypto in your view? Does it create some sort of killer app for crypto? Does it help at all?
I think it creates a lot of marketing opportunities for people with specious understandings of both cryptocurrencies and AI. My poor husband, who also happens to be my co-founder, worked at Waymo for a few years, and trust me, if there was a way to link AI and crypto, he would have figured it out by now. But I think it's mostly going to be a marketing ploy for a new generation of cryptocurrencies, and such is life.
Well,